Shalom, shalom, Israel. I'm your brother Kaya from Jim's Camp out here in Phoenix, Arizona. You know, first and foremost is I want to give us all praise, glory, and honor. It's to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rahak, Kodash. Of course, I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders that have taught us this truth and rule well. Also want to say shalom to the 144,000. I want to say shalom to the speckled bird out there. And also want to say shalom to the Akwath and to the Akim out there that are listening. You know, going back into the times that we're living in, you know, watching different groups, you know, these different Israelites, you know, basically turn on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. You know, you got a lot of these groups out here that basically took the bag. And when we talk about taking the bag, we're talking about the 501c3. Same as your churches and Christendom, your religions. You know, you got Israelites talking about the heathens can be saved. You know, going into that, you got talking about, you know, Paul's writings and whatnot. Then you got them talking about John the Baptist wasn't a man of the Lord. You got all these things that, you know, these different groups, these Israelite groups are talking about. And then what they're doing is, you know, is bad. Damnable heresies, basically. But at the end of the day, you may be wondering, why are they doing this? They doing this for the clout. They're not doing it for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. They're doing it for the bag. It is what it is. You know, you can't convince me to say, oh, no, they not getting paid. When they're at the end of the day, why are you lying? Why are you switching up? Why are you doing all the things that you're doing? And the scriptures warn about, what is that? A man that's subject to change, roughly paraphrasing. You know, a person that says and just constantly changing up doctrine. Then you start hanging out with your enemy, which is Vocab Malone. No, at the end of the day, you know, you doing stuff with him. So what else could it be? Except the bag, meaning what? You got tired. You got tired. You jumped out the race. The bag was more important. The money was more important. You know, you took your hand off the plow to say just about, or you start looking at the finances, start looking at the money to be gained. Just like Christianity. At the end of the day, 501c3, that tax write-off. When you do that tax write-off, you can teach whatever. You know, you can say this and you can say this, but you can't do this and you can't do that. But guess what? You'll be paid. A lot of our Israelites, a lot of Israelites out there are doing that. A lot of these groups out there are doing that, subject to change. You know, lying to the people. Talking about the heathens can make it in Paul's writing and whatnot, but still use Paul's writing. Talking about John the Baptist wasn't a man of the Lord. Bullshit. And you only have to wonder, when you sit back and you think about that for a minute, you have to be like, man, why would they be teaching these things? And the scripture's talking before it, filthy lucracy sake, for the bag, for the money. You know, might as well just say you took your head off the plow. Might as well say that you're showing that Yahweh Shah is not important. What's important is you and your pockets and how you feel in a world that is about to burn. Think about that for a minute. 2 Peter 3:7. We all know what's about to happen to Babylon, aka America. Now that doesn't mean that, like, even me, myself, and other brothers don't go to work and do what we got to do to maintain. But we're not into the world like that, where it's all about the money, it's all about the clout, it's all about the hat wearing and the gold chain and this, that, and the car and the Benz and the BMW and all this other trinket stuff. And most men, we know why you do it. For the women, we know. You want to fill your bag up, you want to fill your pockets up, you want to be that man. But guess what? You shining now. You shining when it don't count. We want to shine when it do. In a world that's about to burn. Sign the 501c3. Now, I may not be able to say for sure if they did, but they sure moving like so. But, you know, I'm going to get a few scriptures before I have to go in. You know, it's 6:13. Well, I have to clock in a little bit. It ain't time yet. So it's something I was thinking about the other day, and I didn't get to go into it. But, you know, before I go in, I like to get a few scriptures, you know. So the first scripture I want to get is in the book of Matthew. This is Matthew 24. Bear with me, Israel. I'll get there. And sometimes, you know, me and my tablet being out here in this parking lot, sometimes the internet don't come in. So Matthew 24 and verse 11. And it says, and many false, and this is Yahweh Shai speaking, who people ignorantly call Jesus, Jehovah, Yah, Yeshua, Yeshua, Yehoshua, all the names that are not his names. First and foremost, the Father's name is Yahweh. The Son's name is Yahweh Shai, who people ignorantly call Jesus. All right, so we're going into what he says. Yahweh Shai says in the book of Matthew 24 and verse 11, and many false prophets. This is the end. He's telling us what's going to happen in our time, because it happened back then and it's happening again. And this is a warning. This is Yahweh Shai telling I would say the elect men, telling his men, hey, yo, in this time, this is going to happen again. So basically, don't be amazed when you see it. Right? Matthew 24 and 11, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Many false prophets. Now, them prophets can go into all your religions, your Christianity groups, your non-denomination, whatever religion it is that Jake's a part of, right? At the end of the day, do no good at all. Now, so those are those false prophets. Now, you can also go into these certain Israelite camps out here. Actually, a lot of them that are doing the same thing. And I really don't have to name names. I shouldn't have to. It should be evident who they are. Because I'm going to tell you this. GMS, Great Millstone, we ain't subject to change. And that's another reason why we hate it too. And we don't give a damn. Cool. We like to be hated. All right. But the doctrine that we give is 100% truth all the way through. And yes, we can say that regardless if somebody get mad and say nobody has 100% truth. No, you don't have 100% truth. But we do. And we're not subject to change. So let's go back over this again. Matthew 24 and 11. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And that's what we're seeing today. Many false prophets. Remember I was saying earlier too, for filthy lucrecy's sake, for the bag, for the money. They'll tell you what you want to hear. And majority of our people have itching ears anyway. They don't want to know the truth. Because the scriptures even go into it. What is it? Teach us deceit, teach us lies. Prophesy basically deceit, teach us lies, because they didn't want to hear the truth. They didn't care to hear it. So you know what's going to happen. We keep telling you. That's where Zechariah 13:8 falls too, on those of the house of Israel. You know, those that that is going to be hand in hand with Esau, Edom. 2/3 of Israel will be destroyed. And them false prophets going into Revelation. I think that's the 19th chapter. But right, so let's go back over this again. Matthew 24 and 11, right? And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And a majority of our people are deceived. Even those that hear the truth and be like, nah, I ain't trying to hear that. You know? Matter of fact, when going into that deceive, right? Remember I said I was talking about the bag, because that's what it's really about. That's what it is with Jake. Jake likes to shine. Ain't nothing wrong with wearing a chain or nothing like that. But let's be honest, Jake likes to shine. Jake trying to be in the kingdom now when we still in Babylon, aka America, in the land of our enemies. You trying to blow up and glow up now. This ain't the time for that shit. This is our punishment. Yeah, our punishment is coming to an end, but at the end of the day, we are still captives in this place. That does not mean that we don't go to work. That does not mean we don't take care of our daily necessities or do anything of the sort. Now, if a brother got a BMW, if a brother got gold, whatever, cool, whatever. I'm not talking about all that, but I'm talking about those that have signed the 501c3 for these things. And then they're teaching lies to the house of Israel. And saying all the bullshit that they saying. Because you got to understand, this is the thing that I sit back like, man, y'all don't realize what the scriptures say? That you're going to be beaten with many stripes because you knew better? You tripping. But anyway, let's go to another scripture, right? Let's go to the book of Titus. And everybody pulling up and questioning and start looking at me. Well, I don't give a dang. This is Titus chapter 1. Maybe they'll learn something. They come up to this car and listen. Matthew chapter 1, right? Going to that filthy lucrecy's sake, and it's going to the Christianity, that's going to you to the false these false camps out here that's teaching nonsense and knowing most likely did sign that 501c3 for the bag, for the loot, because that's when you start changing up doctrine. That's when you start noticing the hell doctrine. The Gentiles can make it, with the heathens can make it, and all this other stuff. And I'm talking about the Gentile heathens. I'm not talking about the Gentile Israelites. You know, that's what they saying. Oh yeah, they can make it. That's not what the scriptures say. They ain't going up on a chariot. But anyway, right? Matthew chapter 1, and we're going to get verse 10. For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision. Who's those of the circumcision? Israelites. Right? Whose mouth must be stopped, who subvert whole house, teaching things which they ought not. Why? For filthy lucrecy sake. Filthy lucrecy sake. For the bag, for the money. They switched up for the money. They got tired. Man, I need more. Man, I want more. Man, I deserve this. Man, that. Same thing as that bullshit Christianity shit. Same thing when we seen that reverend, a few reverends and deacons and whatever, you know, the ones with that, what was it? What did he get? I don't know, that wasn't a BMW. What was that? What kind of car was that? And it's not important what kind of car it was, but it was one of them very high luxury cars, and it was gold. In their church, and that deacon, that reverend said, well, you know, the Lord gave me this car. And the man in the audience said, well, can I drive it? He said, hell no. Lord would not want you driving this. He gave it to me. How do you think he got that car? Through all them tithes. Through 501c3 and through all them tithes that coming through Christianity. We all know this. Everybody know that Christianity is on some bullshit. And it's always been. Even Yahweh Shemel Shah, I want to say it. I know it's in Jeremiah. I don't know if it's 7:5, 4 and 7. It talks about, he calls it a whorehouse. And you ain't getting shit out of it. That's why we tell our people, get up out of there. You ain't getting nothing out of it. All they doing is emptying your pockets and lying to you. Giving you a feel-good sermon and then send your ass on your way. What's the difference between them and what these other camps are doing? Same shit. Patreon, give us some money. Do this, do that, do this, do this. You know, whoop-de-whoop, whoop-de-whoop. We've already seen one fall off. We've seen a few of them. He doing on some bullshit. The Peg man. I ain't even got to say his name, but you know. If you know, you know. This is Titus chapter 1 and verse 11. Whose mouth must be stopped, who subvert whole house, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. And some of those that are listening to them that maybe grouping is getting away from them, what do they say? One of themselves, even a prophet of their own, said, the Cretans are always liars, evil beasts, slow bellies. Even there are those that have been listening to them and looking at them like, wait a minute, man, that don't even make sense. And they starting to pull back because they starting to see it. You know, they starting to see the bullshit in it. But it is what it is. This is the time that we live in. Yahweh Shemel Shah told us these things would be happening. These things would be taking place in our time. Matter of fact, let's get another scripture, right? What scripture do I want? Let's go to 2 Peter. 2 Peter chapter 2. This is 2 Peter 2 and 1, right? And it says, but there were false prophets also among the people. See, we're being told. Listen to this. 2 Peter 2 and 1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privately shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that brought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. Told us, hey, in y'all's time, they're going to be doing the same shit. Remember when Yahweh Shai said in Matthew 24 and 11, what was going to happen? This is our time. Even now, hey, they're going to be bringing in damnable heresies. Don't be amazed when you see it, but you're going to see it. You're going to notice it, right? False teachers, right? among you, among the Israelite group. What's going to happen? Who privately shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that brought them and bring upon themselves swift destruction. So you have the understanding what's going to happen. It's going to be a swift destruction is going to come upon them. They may not see it. They may not feel it right now. They may not be thinking about it. They may be hooting and hollering because now they got the bag, they got the money, they got the girl, they got this, they got that, and that's what they're focusing on. While they're telling lies. They're too busy focused on this world and telling lies on Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Basically, damnable heresies. Because remember I said earlier then that time's going to come where they're going to be beaten with many stripes. They're going to probably get it worse than the 2/3 because they knew better. And you chose to turn your head, to pull your neck and go and do some other shit. Not thinking what the consequences is going to be. Remember, consequences. And consequences always come. They're gonna be feeling the brunt of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the anger of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Matter of fact, let's get another scripture, right? Let's go into the book of Isaiah. And bear with me as we'll get there. Isaiah, right? 56. I think that's Isaiah 56. And let me see, bear with me. Isaiah 56. Is that what? Isaiah 56, 10 and 11. Matter of fact, we get this in the NLT. This is Isaiah 56 and 10. For the leaders of my people, the Lord's watchmen, his shepherds, are blind and ignorant. They are like silent watchdogs that give no warning when danger comes. They love to lie around sleeping and dreaming. Like greedy dogs, they are never satisfied. They are ignorant shepherds, all following their own path and intent on personal gain. Their intent is in personal gain. What did I just tell you? About the damn money, about the bag, about the loot, about them, not about Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, about they punk ass. And they gonna pay for it. They gonna pay for it. Oh, it irritates the shit out of us, but at the same time, we understand. We wish that they wouldn't do these things, but the scriptures tell us, hey, this is what they gonna do. And they doing it. We're going to stand back and we, the GMS, is going to, and like-minded brothers are going to give you this 100% truth. We ain't going nowhere else. We ain't subject to change. We're going to give it to you raw, baby. As we always do. No chaser. It is what it is. We do not want y'all's blood upon us. We will give you this truth until the time our tongues cleave to the roof of our mouth. This truth will come. It is what it is. I said the line is drawn in the sand. The house of David and the house of Saul. And it's being shown and it's evident. Who's who? Now, this ain't no popularity contest and who likes who. We don't give a damn. But what we do, we want to give you this 100% truth that we were told to give you through Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Not subject to change. Not on the bullshit. Not on the take. You see what it say here? This is Isaiah 56 and 11, right? Like greedy dogs, they are never satisfied. They are ignorant shepherds, right? All following their own path and intent on personal gain. Come, they say, let get some. Matter of fact, we'll get verse 12. Oh. Come, they say, let's get some wine and have a party. Let's all get drunk. Then tomorrow we'll do it again and have an even bigger party. Worried about the bullshit of the world. The loot, the partying, the girls, all the bullshit. that means absolutely nothing. That's why I also brought up 2 Peter 3:7. Understanding that fire is coming. And all they worrying about is now, while we worry about what the future is. We ain't worried about shining now. We worried about shining later when it counts. We'll shine when it counts. If they want to shine now, by all means, shine. Glisten. Do you. But remember, consequences. You turned away from the plow. Or you was pushing the plow with lies. And Yahweh Shem Shah's watching all of it. You forget his eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. Seeing everything. You think he can't hear you? You think he can't see, he can't perceive what you're thinking about? What's really important to you? Yeah. Going back to being, beaten with many stripes. It'd have been even better if you didn't even know this truth. Now you know it and you turn. Ooh, shit. What's going to happen? Man. Matter of fact, let's get another scripture, right? Let's get Proverbs. That's one with to go. Let's go to the book of Proverbs. Time is it? I got some more time. Proverbs chapter 12, right? Let me see. This is Proverbs 12 and 29 in the NLT. Maybe it's not, because there's no 29 in here. Let me see. Let me see. I'm trying to think what I wanted. Let me see. Bear with me, Israel. I'm just looking. The way of the godly leads to life. The path does not lead to death. And that's the godly. And that's beautiful too. That wasn't the scripture I was looking for. But nevertheless, the ones of the godly, those that's giving this 100% truth, is what? The way of the godly leads to life. Not death. Life. The path does not lead to death. Those that are doing the will of Yahweh Shem Shah, giving this 100% truth. The hopeful elect. I'm one of the hopeful elect. I'm not saying I'm one of the elect. I'm hopeful. Definitely hoping. And gonna keep pushing to the best of my ability as long as Yahweh Shem Shah wants me to. And Lord willing, he keep me going. You know? I don't know what it was in Proverbs. If it wasn't 12, I know it's another scripture that I wanted. Let me think. What was I thinking? Well, matter of fact, let's get another scripture, right? Might have been Psalms, maybe. I'm not really sure what I was thinking. But anyway, let's get another scripture, Isaiah, right? Let's go back to the book of Isaiah. Oh, I kind of mentioned this earlier, yeah. Isaiah the 30th chapter, going back to our people too. Because all those that listen, you know, all those like tune in like, oh, yeah. That's what it is. Oh, whoop-de-whoop, whoop-de-whoop. And then next thing you know, they gathering vocab. They with this person, they with that person. They collabing together. That let you know it's some bullshit. You already know when cabs involved, V cabs involved, it's gonna come with some bullshit. It is what it is. But anyway, right? What was I thinking? Oh, Isaiah 30. And let me see. Hold on. We'll start at verse 9. This is Isaiah 30 and 9. That this is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord. Right? Going to you 2/3. Also you false prophets, which say to the seers are who? The prophets, right? See not, and to the prophets prophesy not unto us right things, speak to us unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit. In other words, tell us lies. And guess what? That's what these other groups are doing. Christ bless, all this other nonsense. Taking the bag. Got all these followers taking the bag. Just like the Christian church. See, you know what? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. When the shit hits the fan, the scriptures talk about this, that, what is it? Is it the hireling, if I'm saying it right, don't care about the sheep? And when the man come basically and swings or whatever, I know it's roughly paraphrasing. I can't think of where the scripture's at, but I roughly paraphrasing that the sheep scatter. He don't protect. He got his money. He got the bag. He used them for what he could get out of him, and he dipped. The wolf ran or whatever. Not talking about a little wolf, but Salakia, y'all. I'm just thinking about that scripture. And I know I'm roughly I'm paraphrasing it wrong. Hopefully I'm not. But you know what? Matter of fact, bear with me, Israel. Give me a minute. Let me see something. Bear with me for a minute, all right? Let me see. Hopefully this doesn't cut off. I think I found it. It's John 10 and 12. And let's go there. That's what I was talking about. Ain't no point butchering it. John chapter 10. And Salakia for that. John chapter 10 and verse 12. And it says, and this is Yahweh Shai speaking, but he that is an hireling and not the shepherd who own the sheep are not seeth the wolf coming and leaveth the sheep and fleeth, and the wolf catches them and scattereth the sheep. Going into what? The hireling. He ain't worried about the sheep. The sheep. He worried about himself. And when shit hits the fan, he gonna bounce. And he gonna leave all the sheep right there. That's what's gonna happen to a lot of these groups. Especially those in purple and gold too. I'm quite sure that dude, he gonna dip. When shit get real, he gonna dip. He gonna dip. Going right back to the scripture. I bet when shit get real, he gonna be somewhere else. This is verse 13. The hireling fleeth because he is an hireling and careth not for the sheep. He careth not for the sheep. He got the 501c3. He got rich off of them. He got the bag. He got the loot. While the sheep are casualties now. To the slaughter. While he running the other way. Tucked tail and ran. And Yahweh Shai Shah is going to get that ass. Now, if you don't like my French, my Swahili, change the channel. Change the channel. If some of my words I use you don't like, please change the channel. This is not for you. If you soften and wet toilet paper, you got to move around. But anyway, this is what I'm talking about right here. When the crap get thick, they gonna run. No different than the Christian church and whatever, all these religions, same shit. Matter of fact, let's get one more scripture before I go, right? Because it's going to be time to go, man. So, what's going to happen, we're going to scripture tell you they're going to be beaten with many stripes, but also Revelations tell you too, the false prophets. What's going to happen to the false prophets? Right? Was that Revelations 19 and 20? Let's get there. Get that. This is Revelation chapter 19 and verse 20. And let's see what it says, right? And it says, doom of the beast and the false prophets. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophets that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast. And that's another thing. A lot of them with that bad breakdown. It's a picture of Cesar Borgia. It's sleeping with white women. It's a sin. It's all the stuff than what it really is. And we keep telling you what it is. It's an RFID microchip. Y'all should be hip to it now, because it's crazy to me that these Bible Belt Christians know exactly what it is. But certain groups, these Israelite groups, are saying it's something else. I ain't got to say who, because all you should just look around and you figure it out who it is. They like to say Christ bless and stuff like that. Anyway, anywho, right? So what's going to happen? Right? So what's going to happen? These are the words of Yahweh Shai Shah. Right? These are the words of Yahweh Shai Shah. The scriptures. Revelations 19 and 20, right? And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophets, all your denominations, all your religions, all of that shit, including Israelites. Including Israelites, yes. Now the 2/3 plus these Israelites, these false prophets that took the bag, greedy bastards, took the bag, wanted to shine, didn't want to give it to Yahweh Bashim outside. They wanted to shine now. They took the bag. They was in the corner. Oh yeah, I'm getting rich. I'm getting it. Look at my car. Blah, 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 blah. Cool. By all means, you're shining now, baby. Do you? But listen to these scriptures, right? They're gonna do them, right? And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophets that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive. Where? Into a lake of fire, burning with brimstone. Well, you know what that goes into. Your nuke food. Your nuke food. Your ass is going to burn. You gonna be Sarah Connor on the fence, burning in pieces. And best Yahweh Bashmi Shah is gonna make you feel it. It is what it is. Now you get mad at what I say or whatever. At the end of the day, give me 100% truth. It is what it is. And we're living in the time exactly of what Yahweh Bashmi Shah said would be happening. So we're not amazed when we look at these things. Now, we get hurt by it. We looking like, man, come on, man. Come on. You know what the scriptures say. But eventually we turn to that like, man, look, they going way left. Nope. We're going to keep tracking 100% truth. We're going to keep following Yahweh Bashmi Shah and doing to the best that he tells us to do. But anyway, this wasn't meant to be very long. I got to get into the plantation. It's about that time. I'm grateful to be at work, be at this place, somewhat. It is what it is, but shoot. Yeah, the false prophets are in trouble. The false prophets are in trouble. It may not seem like it now, but man, when the shit get real, it's going to get real. When it's going to get real fast, it's going to get real fast. So when that day come and they saying, Lord, Lord, I did this and I did that, and Yahweh shall say, I never knew you. Get your punk ass away from me. And he may not say it that way, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. That's when you're going to feel it. Where's your garment? Wrap his ass up and throw him out. What is that? Garnishing the teeth in the dark. Garnishing, mashing of teeth. Oh, it's going to be real bad. I ain't trying to feel none of that. Nope. No siree, Bob. But anyway, I'm going to say this. Hope you was edified. I'm going to give all praise, glory, and honor. It's a Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Hakadosh. Till the next time, Shalom.